They had its body, they had its scars, they had its beaks, inside whales. But for 200 years, no one had ever seen a giant squid alive. Not once. Which means one of the largest predators on Earth was effectively invisible. And then, suddenly, it wasn't. Because when scientists finally captured the first real footage of a living giant squid, it didn't behave like a slow-moving deep-sea relic. It moved like a hunter, fast, precise, intentional, and that changed everything. The giant squid wasn't discovered in the way most animals are. There was no first sighting in the wild, no clean observation, just pieces. In the early 1800s, massive, unrecognizable carcasses began washing ashore. Long arms, soft bodies, eyes the size of dinner plates. Sailors told stories of sea monsters dragging ships under. Scientists dismissed them, but then came something harder to ignore. Sperm whales. When researchers examined their stomach contents, they kept finding the same thing: giant squid beaks. Hard, sharp, indestructible. Proof that something enormous was living deep below and fighting back. Because these whales weren't just eating squid. They were coming back covered in scars, circular marks, deep gouges, left by suckers lined with rotating hooks. Whatever lived down there wasn't passive. It fought, and yet no one could find it. Not alive. For nearly 2 centuries, every attempt failed. The deep sea made sure of that. Giant squid live hundreds of meters down, where sunlight disappears. Pressure builds. Visibility collapses. And everything that survives there has adapted to avoid being seen. Submersibles went down. Cameras were lowered. Bait was deployed. Nothing. Because the moment artificial light hit the water, the deep sea changed. Animals scattered, including the ones scientists were looking for. It wasn't just rare, it was actively avoiding detection, so researchers changed strategy. Instead of forcing the deep sea to reveal itself, they tried to become invisible within it. They built a camera system that emitted no visible light, only deep red wavelengths, nearly invisible to most deep-sea animals. Then they designed bait that didn't just sit still. It mimicked movement, a glowing lure, pulsing, drifting, like injured prey. And then they waited, in complete darkness. When it finally appeared, it didn't drift into frame. It attacked. A long, pale body emerged from black water, accelerating toward the lure. 2 feeding tentacles shot forward, faster than expected. They snapped outward, lined with serrated suckers designed to grip and hold. For a moment, the entire animal became visible. Arms spread, eye fixed forward, focused. Then it vanished again, gone as quickly as it arrived. But that moment was enough, because for the first time, the giant squid wasn't a myth built from remains. It was a living predator with a clear strategy: ambush, speed, precision. And its anatomy suddenly made sense. Those enormous eyes, the largest in the animal kingdom, aren't just for seeing prey. They're for detecting something far more dangerous: sperm whales. In the deep sea, a whale approaching creates faint disturbances, tiny shifts in light, movement in the water. A giant squid's eyes are large enough to detect those changes from a distance, not to hunt, but to survive. Because down there it's not the top predator, it's being hunted too. Its tentacles aren't just long, they're engineered. Unlike its 8 arms, the 2 feeding tentacles can extend rapidly, almost like a biological spring. At the tips, clubs lined with rotating hooks lock into prey. Once contact is made, there's no slipping free. And the beak, hidden at the center, sharp enough to slice through flesh. The same beak that kept turning up in whale stomachs. The same beak that proved this animal existed long before we ever saw it. But what's most surprising isn't how strange it looks. It's how normal its behavior is. It doesn't lurk slowly. It doesn't drift aimlessly. It hunts like other high-level predators. Detect, approach, strike, disappear, efficient, controlled, almost familiar. Which raises a deeper question. How many other large, complex animals are still down there, unseen? The giant squid isn't small. It can reach lengths over 10 meters, and yet it avoided direct observation until the 21st century. Not because it's rare, but because the environment protects it. Darkness, pressure, distance. A place where visibility is optional and being seen can mean death. For 200 years, the giant squid existed as evidence. Scars on whales, beaks in stomachs, bodies on beaches, fragments of something bigger. Now we know what it is. Not a drifting monster, not a myth. A precise, capable predator, perfectly adapted to a world we still barely understand. And for most of its life, it remains exactly where it always has been, just outside our reach, in the dark.